This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the February 22nd, 2024 meeting of the Southampton Senior Center Building Committee. It is 12:33. So we'll start the meeting at 12:33 and call the meeting to order. All right. Open time for the public. Can we use this moment to introduce Scott, maybe? It's public time.
It's nice to meet everyone again. I'm really looking forward to working with everyone, and I love Council on Aging. I always worked hand in hand, whether it was City of Chicopee or Town of Wellesley. I always worked really closely with them, so I'm looking forward to working with you.
Great, good.
Yes, I heard this morning that you were at Wellesley and Chicopee while they were being built, so we're going to tap into that knowledge big time. So thank you and welcome to Southampton. And regardless of what Ed says about us, we're really good. So.
All depends on which side of that opinion you're on.
All right, approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
Motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Christina. So Dennis and Christina. Libby, if you don't catch anything, just holler. Okay. And is there any discussion on the minutes? Okay.
So can I just talk about the perk?
It's on, the perk test itself is down.
We'll do it later. We'll do that
It's
later.
just the minutes from the last time, so
right. Okay.
we'll do that.
Come on.
I want to do that.
Are you the co-chair? You're trying to get me out of order already? So we'll have to do a roll call vote for approval of the minutes. Christina?
Yep.
Chris?
Yep.
Dennis?
Yes.
Libby?
Yes.
Jerry?
Aye.
Janet? Aye. Okay, minutes are approved. Thank you, Libby. Great job as usual.
And sorry they were so late.
Great minutes, so.
Sent them last night at midnight.
They say they're worth waiting for. And I appreciate you doing them from a distance, so that's great.
It's fine.
Okay, update on recent perk test. Dennis, would you like to speak to that first?
Well, we were talking with Jerry and I and Darcy were there for a couple of hours and just talking about, well, the perks ended up being very well done, way up high, and I was just wondering about, because you want a commercial kitchen that requires a lot larger leach field, but are there any, like some kitchens are open every day. Our kitchen's not going to be open every day. I'm just wondering, is there a leeway or a change in perk at all for kitchens that are not used, like a restaurant is 6 days out of 7 is probably used?
It would be used, but we may not be preparing meals.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Right,
the commercial part that sets it apart from a sink and a whatever, I'm just wondering, how do you think we use it more than like 7-8 times a month?
Oh.
And I don't have to even
it's
answer
hard
that,
to say because obviously with a new building, I'm hoping that means expanded everything, expanded
right.
programming, which would
so you
hopefully be.
I was just wondering if there was a leeway at all, or is it you have a commercial,
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
regardless of whether you use it every day and this much effluent goes out, and I was just wondering if there was any.
You probably have to ask Charlie.
Well, I don't know if Charlie's got, but I don't know if Scott or Ed have experience that might.
Well, the flip side of that is you're going to build a building that's probably got a lifespan of 50 years. So if your demand is A on day one, it could very well be Y 25 or 30 years out. And you need to plan for that. So
I guess we visited some. We've been around to different ones, and I don't see them using the commercial kitchen all that much.
And we were there for what, 2 hours, so it's really hard to say. And I
asked often how often do you use it, And at that point in Hadley, she said once a week.
Yeah, and I don't know if the volume for that once a week needs to be supported, so I don't think any of us have the answer to that question.
Okay, yeah, that was the only question I had about the perk.
Okay.
Maybe that would be a question to find out through somebody, I'm not sure who.
Yeah.
You know, what defines a commercial kitchen? I mean, what,
Right,
I thought maybe Darcy might have an answer. She seemed to be up on a lot of that stuff.
yeah. I don't think she knows commercial as much as she does residential, so, and
Yep.
unfortunately, she's
yeah.
in another
I would
meeting,
be
so.
surprised if there's a middle ground. I mean,
Yeah,
to me, there
okay.
would be residential and commercial and,
Yeah.
but I guess I would.
I think once we hire the architect and
Yeah.
working with another
Then they would,
experts.
they would have an
Yeah.
engineer.
Right,
Let us know what that's all
so they would,
Yeah.
as a
they would be able to,
subcontractor. That would probably be where all those questions go.
Yep.
yeah, so they'd be handled. But can we talk back to the perk test though? So it was moved from the 13th to, and when was it actually done? Right, it was
When was it
originally,
done? Where did we go, Thursday? It was a week ago?
it was 2 days later, so it's the 15th, right?
Yeah.
Because we
It was a
were
week.
gonna have a foot of snow that day that never came,
Right.
so.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So it was done on the
what happened that
15th,
day?
right?
And for those of you that went to the perk test,
Yeah,
what-
tell us about,
You wanted to start, Jerry?
Well, it was interesting, the different soil compositions just in a relatively small area, and particularly once you get deep. And what surprised me was how high the water table was. It was only about 2 feet down to the water table, which,
Even in the back of the property?
that's where we
Yes.
were at the back. So we did
So
8
it's
holes,
like-
right?
We
Right.
did 8.
So there were 8 holes done.
East.
The holes that were originally there in the rear of the property, where were the 8 holes? Unfortunately, I got a message from Darcy that Barry has handed in the results to the Board of Health, but I stopped at the Board of Health and they are closed this week until Monday. They come back on the 26th, so I couldn't, whatever I don't think they have, whatever. So I couldn't get, I don't have a copy of it. I
Okay.
was hoping to have a copy for today's meeting, but unfortunately, the
it
office
sounded
is
like the
closed.
results were excellent.
They weren't excellent.
They were.
Oh, they were excellent,
Yeah.
okay. So I don't know position-wise, because I wasn't there, and I could certainly
Yeah.
stop over there and take a look. But compared to the holes that were there in the rear that were done in
The ones that
2018,
we got the best perk were in
even
the
further
back.
south than that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But apparently the issue is you have to be, the bottom of the leach field has to be 4 to 5 feet above the water table. So we're still gonna have to bring in dirt.
But Libby,
You're gonna have to mount it then.
then they'll
Right.
have to
Yeah,
mount
they
it,
will,
yeah.
but they got a good perk.
Yes.
Couple of good perks, really good perks. so.
Okay, so that's what, when we hire somebody that will make those kind of expert determinations, but, so the leach field would have to be mounded,
Right.
but the septic itself, I don't know how
No.
that works.
You'll
No,
have to pump.
Be pumping,
yeah, okay.
but we knew that,
Yeah, we kind of knew that, yeah.
yeah.
It's like the library. If you look at the front of the library,
Right.
it's mounted.
It's mounded, yep, yeah, but we won't be mounding in front, we'll be mounding
No,
in back.
no, no,
so,
no, right.
Yeah, okay. And you stopped in too, right? For-
Yes, I did.
And
Oh, I forgot.
any,
Yeah, you were there
any
the whole
comments that you considered that you'd like to add to it?
No, the holes looked good. The perk rates, as far as I was concerned, for the two, shall we say, different sides, were coming up excellent, so.
Okay, and
Yes,
just,
the groundwater isn't, I will say, real deep, but it was probably, seemed to be probably about 3 to 4 feet down, so.
okay,
Yeah, it would still have to be raised, but it wasn't, real close to the surface.
okay, not like the lower part of the, lower third of the property that we looked at initially. And for anybody that's watching this, from the recording, this is the perk test for 89 Clark Street. I didn't really reference that at the beginning, so it looks like it's a go-ahead based on the perk test results when we see
It was, in
them.
my estimation, a little dramatic because we got the really, really good perks in the 8th and 9th inning.
So waiting.
Yes.
Is it gonna happen?
Yeah.
Right, the best, they were sort of the last
Last one you
The
did?
last digs were the best.
So the
perks.
first 4 holes were closer to the original 2018
closer,
perks?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, interesting.
Anybody happen to take pictures that day?
The chair is about to get some. I forgot to
Somehow I
transfer
kind of
them,
knew
send
that
them
somebody might have
earlier.
taken a picture.
Ed is usually good at that. Oh, thank you. I think I just received it. You texted it to me? Okay.
Great.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm looking at it on my watch.
Of course you are.
Okay. Good.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ed, because maybe we'll post something. So Chris has kind of updated our senior center, on the website, the building committee on the website. So when you get a chance to go to our website and look at the senior center building committee site, thank you, Chris, because I said I'm not trained on how to do it, and Christina has enough.
What's the web address?
It's townofsouthampton.org.
Okay, yeah, okay, got
And
that.
then it says department and committees or whatever, so you just,
Yeah.
and you,
There's
To the
a
building
list
committee.
to go
There's a
through
search
that.
bar too on the homepage, Jerry, and you can just put
Yeah.
in Senior Center Building Committee. It should take you right to it.
Okay, I like the one with your finger in it, Ed, that was
Yeah.
lovely. And here, that was,
I have a question about the committee, the website. I don't know how to, I noticed, I was on there a couple days ago and I didn't see any minutes posted
so
for this committee. I don't know how to do that.
so the minutes are posted on mytowngovernment.org.
Ah,
I did post them, Libby, yesterday, by the way.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
you did?
you
Okay.
went, so you went, yeah, and I was like, oh dear, I haven't posted the minutes. So I did update that, so we're up to date, and then I'll post these after this meeting, okay?
So is there a link from the town website to the?
Yeah, I mean, I can give Lucy, you would have to have a login from
Okay.
Lucy
I mean,
to be able
it
to
just-
do that. I'm happy to
I've gone
have,
on the webpage before looking for certain minutes and I
Right.
can't find them.
Okay.
That's because they're on a different location?
yeah, mytowngovernment.org is where we post them.
So that's where,
Okay.
through open meeting laws, I mean, we end up scheduling all the meetings, right? And then
Gotcha.
minutes are posted of those meetings after they're approved. So that
Okay.
becomes the full record. So that still exists. It's a link from the town website. But you
It
bring
is.
up a
It's a
good
link
point.
on the
There's
website.
nothing wrong with adding a separate section on the webpage
Right.
for the senior center, building center, saying minutes, and we can also post. them.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I would like to start doing that, so people don't have to search around for them.
Because I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think it's,
I would, but, okay.
unless you're used to posting minutes there, you
Yeah.
probably aren't that familiar with it. And even with the senior center, the Council on Aging Board, maybe do the same thing, so that people don't have to search around for where the minutes are. Good point. Okay, so, Ed,
Yeah,
you had said at the last meeting, if I recall correctly, and it's probably captured in Libby's minutes, that you were going to put together a kind of a chronological list of steps for us. Is that still on your TBD list?
still on my TBD list.
Okay. Okay, so, but anything you want to share with us at this moment? So I'm looking at, for me, the appraisal, which we got approval to do for so we should have an appraisal back within 4 weeks, in under 4 weeks?
Yes.
So that's really was our next
Starting to
step.
work on that.
Great.
I reached out to KP Law earlier today, just to apprise them of the need for probably 2 title searches, one for this project and one for the public safety complex project. So if this committee actually authorizes me to move forward with that, I will send the information to KP Law to start the title search for 89 Clark Street.
Would
Do we need to
anybody
make-
like to make a motion to give Ed the authority to reach out to KB Law for a title search?
I would, yes.
I
Dennis?
think we did
I
already.
think we did that.
I thought we did it at the last minute meeting
We
too,
did.
Ed.
That's all I want to confirm.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
So
I
they're
thought
gonna
we
do a
did,
title search for $89?
for 89 Clark Street.
89.
Oh,
Not 80.
That would have been
No,
nice.
that would, yeah, $89.
But I have a question about that, the appraisal letter, because there's 2 numbers mentioned in there, $2,000 and $2,500 as fees. I'm assuming that they're going to be totaled.
So no, so just
It was two
for the
different-
record, there were
it was
two
different
options. Yeah,
If we
so,
wanted it within 4 weeks, it was $2,500. If we wanted it like in 5 to 6 weeks, it was $2,000.
Well,
so I spoke with Ed
I have
and
chosen the 4 weeks or less.
Yes.
since the time is very
Yes.
tight,
Yeah.
we spoke briefly and
Yeah.
he had shared with me, that we were doing the $2,500 one and that it was, that's why we can get it under 4 weeks, because again, the window is
Yes.
getting
Right.
shorter, so. And for
Yeah.
$500, it was worth the
Yeah.
peace of mind.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we have the funds from the estate, so.
Yeah.
And just confirming, we did put the motion forward on the title search last meeting, so
Yes.
I think that was just a heads up that he's going to talk to.
Okay, yeah, I thought we had discussed it at once, so you're good to go.
Yep.
I was always happy to do it a second time, just in case. Okay. Anything else regarding next steps, Ed, from your perspective, that we should capture at the moment before we get your official list?
I can think of it this particular
Okay.
time.
So the timeline for the, our,
The one thing, because there hasn't been a meeting since then, the one thing that was noted while we were out there is a pond, whether it's a vernal pool or not, we don't know. It appears to be, at least to myself, 100 feet or more away from where the edge of that leach field, may be, but, we'll just have to keep that in the back of our minds going forward.
yeah, I do remember one shown on some of the different, when we had the feasibility committee, some of the documents that we saw did represent a pond in the back.
Yep.
Libby, do you remember that as well? A small, whether it's, again, I don't know if it's a vernal pool, and does it matter if it's a vernal pool or a small pond, or?
That I can't.
Might be
that I-
wetland, no matter what.
It's a
Yeah.
wetland, it's a wetland either way. The bigger or more, shall we say, the bigger impact may be, does that mean that the 60-foot or 50-foot, I can't remember which.
50-foot
Rule.
easement?
50-foot
Yeah.
right-of-way easement, does that mean it needs to come out further into the property?
Okay.
And if there is a vernal pool or some wetlands there, we probably have to go before Conservation Commission for the.
Yeah, it's further
They'll have
than,
to delineate it, the
Yeah.
whole property.
yeah.
So,
When we hire the architect, they'll have to hire a wetlands scientist to go out in the field and delineate wetlands, because it's gonna impact where we put the building and everything
Yes.
else.
Right.
So they'll pick that up,
okay.
Okay.
whether or not it's a pond, and, there's buffer zones that are required around that type of thing.
If I'm thinking, and Ed and Jerry can think, there, on the 89 Clark, there was like a pool way in the back when we first walked back, over to our right a little bit.
Yeah.
The larger pool that we're talking about
Is on the left-hand
is
side.
not on 89
89.
Clark Street property, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
But it doesn't matter, you still gotta be that.
I mean, still, you have the issues. I'm bringing it up because I don't really think the bigger spot is actually on 89 Clark. That doesn't mean you don't have to follow the rules for whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, I thought I remembered something on the left-hand side within that property on some of the
On one of the
diagrams that we
maps,
had.
yeah.
Yeah, and one of the maps we had created during the feasibility
Yeah,
study.
I know Jerry and I looked at it, we spent some time sort of figuring out where the easement was. We talked to Ryan about his easement. And
So you did have a discussion about that?
yeah, we did. And he said I could move the easement to the other side or whatever too. But it seemed quite a ways off from.
Okay,
More
because
than
it's
100
really
feet.
hard to determine where the property line is, I think, when you're standing there.
Especially
Right.
since there's flags everywhere going, there's not a nice flag across the back of the property. There were flags right
Oh,
here.
yeah, we're all,
I couldn't
Were they
determine.
different colors and
No, they were the
represent
same
different
color.
things? Okay.
Weird.
they
I'll have
look
to take a
random.
walk back.
It really looked like somebody who had too much to drink or something. Sitting there.
Your flag
They
hat.
were everywhere. So I mean, initially we thought, oh, there it is. And no. So
Okay. So is the survey required, Ed, do you think? I mean, do we need to have it surveyed so we know exactly where the
At some point, we will actually have it.
surveyed, right?
Yeah.
But not before we purchase?
We would probably
Don't
have
you
it
have to have
done
it
in
surveyed before you
conjunction with
purchase it?
that.
I don't think it has to be surveyed before we purchase it.
We can go down that road too. As long as we know we're heading in that direction, we can order a survey also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to, I don't want to buy anything and find out I have to sell it, so.
Right. So if you direct me in that area, I will get a cost.
So should we?
Well,
Order
could we
survey.
wait until the town approves the purchase before we get the survey?
Well, as long as there's no question at the town meeting was there a survey done on the property or something? So I guess anything that we can say yes to is better than,
Right.
so.
Didn't Ryan get a survey when he bought it a couple years ago?
Yeah, I'm sure
Will
it
that
was.
still
Yeah.
hold up?
Let me check with him and see if he has a copy of the survey. The
Well,
official
there should be some
survey.
iron pins at the corner.
There should be, if you can
Yeah.
find them.
Yeah, I'm having that trouble at my house.
Yeah. Mine too. So,
Well, I'm sure Heritage would have done the surveying, so. I mean,
Right.
If they had to go back out and mark pins or something.
Yeah, it marks against some of their own property.
right.
Right.
And they were the original owners. The owner of Heritage was
Oh,
the
they
owner
were?
of that
Okay.
property when Ryan purchased it, so
Okay.
I'm sure it was surveyed. So let me see if if he sent one to either Darcy maybe during a feasibility study, and we'll see if we can get a copy of that. And if not, does the committee feel that they would be most comfortable with having a survey done before we move too far down the road?
I think the answer is yes for me because of the question you said, if someone asks a question, it's nice to have yes answers.
But if there's one that's already done, do we need to bother?
Well,
Oh, that's-
no, if there's not one that we can
Yeah.
locate, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
if one's done, that's great.
Yeah, we don't need to do it again, right?
Right.
I mean, part of that will tie into the title search, right? I mean, if the survey, even if the survey's been done, if they do the title search and they're still coming up, they come up with something that's out of the ordinary, right?
Right.
Then that might need, you have to go back and do another survey, perhaps. Am I correct on that, or not? That if the title search turned up something that wasn't clear, or with it a boundary or something,
Might
that
be, yeah.
you might have to
Yeah,
go back.
might
but-
have to go back.
But in terms of presenting to town meeting with the idea of acquiring this property, I mean, I think we'd want to have as much information as possible.
Yeah, and depending, if there is one, and depending on how long it is ago, that might be sufficient.
Mhm, okay. If it wasn't too terribly long ago, which.
Right, yeah, so it was 2018 when they did that perk in the back, so if that's when he bought it, it would be around that time frame. So I'll go back and look through my documents from the feasibility in case it's there somewhere. But, yeah, so if a survey is not found or produced, then would the board or the committee like to move forward with having a survey take place? Do we have a motion for that, I guess?
Motion to have a survey take place if we don't find
the
it
documentation.
previously done,
Okay.
yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in
Who
favor?
seconded?
Chris, I'm sorry, Chris did. All in favor of that motion? Christina?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Dennis?
Yeah,
Libby?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
And Janet, aye. Okay. All right.
Well, I will go out there and see if I can find a pin in the back,
Okay.
just for my own information.
Okay, good. We'll check. And I'll get in touch with Ryan if I don't find it in my documents from the survey or from the study. See if there was anything in the study that was done. I know we didn't do a survey during the study, but they may have had something that was clear, so.
I think he did.
You think he did do a
I
survey?
think there's a map.
There's a map, yeah.
Yeah, it
So-
might have been survey map, but anyway, I
Yeah.
can check too.
Yeah, okay. We'll try to get to the bottom of that. Okay, so the article for the town meeting to purchase, what are our timeframes on getting that completed and into the town administrator?
There was something at one point about 21 days, I can't remember
Yeah.
where it goes or who it goes to. Does it go to the town administrator?
Well, yeah, it goes, Ed, what's the process for the article? We have to work with you to write an article to acquire the property, right? To appear? So,
Right, I would probably have, that I can, if you're heading in that direction, I can actually start that process now. I actually have KP write the article.
okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, we do have to have an official offer, right? So it's hard to,
Well, at some point, we're going to actually need a P&S, purchase and sale.
agreement, right? Yeah. So, and that would happen before the town meeting, or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, based on approval at town meeting, so. So, yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, when we look at the acreage, do we remove that 50-foot easement driveway out of the property we're purchasing? And when they do the appraisal, and is that, will they be directed that way, or?
Well, it would be directed that there is a easement for access to the back of X amount of width, and that, you know, to take that into consideration when doing the appraisal value.
Yeah, which will remain with the owner of the the seller, right, okay.
Why would we buy it, then give him an easement?
That's
Why
what-
wouldn't he just own that?
That's what I'm saying, when we
Yeah.
get it appraised and surveyed, it should exclude
Yes.
that drive.
But we wouldn't purchase it, though. Why would we do
That's,
an easement?
that's what I'm saying, that we would, so maybe I'm using the wrong language, but the driveway,
No, I understand what you're saying, but
Okay.
everybody keeps saying an easement, and it wouldn't be an easement, because we wouldn't own the property.
Could we put our driveway in that easement?
No, we wouldn't want
No.
to.
no, because if there's trucks coming, because it's industrial behind, so if he puts industrial stuff in there and their big trucks are coming out, we
Oh,
want to have our
okay.
separate, separate drive,
But
so.
is the question whether or not the verbal offer that you've received, does that include the price, the figure, the entire property, including the easement? Or-
That's my understanding, it's the 7.41 acres includes the entire property.
So then we'd expect what we're purchasing is less than 7.41 acres.
Right.
Right.
And we need to get that clear.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see why he doesn't just retain title to it.
He will, to that property? I mean, I would think so.
To the
I
own-
mean, I think he's
ownership.
asking for an easement to his back property and a roadway, but I think for our purposes, it doesn't make sense to buy it and then loan it back to him, so,
Yeah.
you know.
But it may be the fact that if that
Frontage?
parcel is landlocked,
Uh-huh.
that an easement will still allow him to develop that versus if he only owned a 50-foot wide strip going back to it, that it would not be enough frontage.
I see.
But if he owns it, it's not an easement.
Well, but if he, what I understand Ed to just say is that he does, if it's, the property behind is landlocked, so he may need an easement versus a private driveway to get back to the back of that property. And otherwise, legally, there's not enough frontage for him to develop the property on the road enough
Oh,
to develop
okay.
the property
Yeah, I
in
see
the
what you're
back.
saying.
Is that, did I regurgitate that accurately?
I think you did.
Okay.
There's nothing actually there now, right?
There's nothing
This is
there
just if
now.
he wants
Yes.
to.
He purchased the property not that long ago, along with this frontage,
Okay,
to,
That's what I
to
thought.
develop as industrial somehow,
okay.
so. Okay. And then, and we can probably table this maybe for a little bit to the next meeting, but once we get all this worked out and we're going ahead with the article at the town meeting, we need to do some public outreach and education
Right.
about it. So,
Right.
we'll have some time after this, but I just wanted to make sure that will be on the agenda so that we can make sure that, think about for the next meeting, what kind of outreach, what kind of public engagement or education do we need to do about purchasing the property? So,
Yep.
and then certainly make sure at that annual town meeting that we have lots of supporters that attend. So that's kind of our responsibility, to make sure that the people that we know that want this development, the senior center built, are able to get to the town meeting.
Right.
Do we have any kind of list of the senior, who qualifies as senior citizen?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
yep.
we've got a good list.
Okay.
I mean, you would get that from the town clerk. I mean, it changes a little bit here and there,
Mhm.
based on people moving in,
Well,
people
we
passing.
actually have a recent, as of January, we have a recent list.
Okay, so we could even do a mailing.
If we wanted to spend that kind of money to do a mailing.
Those are options.
So that's, to encourage people to get there. I mean, we have a number of emails as well for people that are active
And our newsletter.
Our newsletter.
Putting something
so.
in our newsletter when it's like the edition prior to the meeting, yeah.
Yeah, so it's because it's the first Tuesday in May is the annual town meeting,
Right.
correct? And so we would want to make sure it's in the April newsletter, which is here before we know it, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
at least that gets to and I don't know if we decide maybe we mail that one for
Right.
some reason in order to
Yep.
reach the population, because typically we only mail a couple times a year.
Yeah.
But we could possibly look into,
Right, I was thinking about, because we mailed in January, which you'd say 6 months, this is summer, but we do less in summer. So I wanted to move
Yeah.
it anyways.
Okay.
So.
just
Long
something for
story short,
consideration.
yes.
And then fortunately, the Friends pick up the mailing cost of that. So that's, so it's not we're not taking more money away from
Yeah.
the funds, right, that are available, so. Okay, but yeah, think about we'll talk about it the next meeting, what kind of outreach do we want to do and try to get something together. Okay? Chris is really good at developing surveys. And she wants to do just one more, not, yes. So anyway, for the next meeting. Okay, so capital and grant opportunities, Ed, I don't know if you've had any more time to kind of investigate who can serve on a capital committee in town? Okay. I don't know, Scott, in your experience, I don't know how much you were involved in the process or not, but, our goal is to raise, at least another $2 to $3 million. I mean, we'd love to raise 10, but
Realistically.
we don't want to fail, so.
I'll reach out to some of the people I work with in the city of Chicopee, because they use the same model.
Okay.
The town contribute a little bit, then, they raise it privately, I think 5 to 6 million privately.
Okay. And they're a little bit bigger town, community than we are,
Yeah.
but we would love to do 5 to 6, but we want to try. So I have like a small informal group of people that we're going to just kind of brainstorm and try to figure out who are I think I said this limit, so you look at the pyramid and those few people that have the most monies to donate, and then kind of go down to a lot of people to give $20 or whatever. So we're going to kind of brainstorm out who would fit into the top of the pyramid.
Hoping Dennis is sitting on a few million.
Yeah, that would be good. So is Dennis.
I'm sure it's there somewhere, right, Dennis? So we're just waiting for the check to come.
Just tied to that, I think, just for Scott's benefit.
What town were you?
Chicopee.
reaching out to? Chicopee? Oh,
Well, Scott had experience in Chicopee.
Yeah, I just needed
Okay.
it for the minute.
Yep.
So.
The question I think that kind of underlies that is, with forming some sort of a capital campaign committee, are there limitations? And maybe this is more of an ethics question, I don't know.
Well, laws around an employee can
Yeah, so.
be involved with
how-
asking for
Right, so I mean.
funds and money, so.
Yeah, who can actually be on that
Right,
committee?
can the
We're-
Friends
we're
group
technically-
actually,
We're all technically employees in parentheses, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
does that mean none of us can be on a capital campaign committee? Or we're not
But if we're
paid?
if we're a member of a board or something,
Mhm.
that means we can't be on the capital
Well,
committee?
I mean, technically, even if you named a capital committee and appointed them, they all become
Right.
Right.
That's
employees, so they can't.
that's the answer we've been waiting for.
Probably make a fundraising deficit.
how the hell does this work?
So this is why we're having an informal brainstorming with no committee at this moment, so.
We needed clarity on how we.
Yeah,
Right,
obviously.
because is the Friends group unable to be involved then?
We're volunteers. I don't understand why we would be employees.
Well, we're still take the same ethics training and stuff
Training.
as employees, so.
Believe, yeah, you are an unpaid employee of the town of Southampton.
Okay.
Thank you, Libby.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So,
Get your resume out.
Right.
so Scott, if anybody in Chicopee that we can either reach out to or that you can reach out to and
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
help educate us, that would be great, because we really want to sincerely raise some money and then look for some grant opportunities. So, we happen to know the chair of the ad hoc grant committee, Chris, and I know Dennis says he's worked on some grants
Yes.
in the past.
Educational grants, yeah.
Educational grants, so we want to do some, I've met, as I mentioned at the last meeting, John Vilas, Senator Vilas is person that comes into the senior center. We've had some discussions, so wanted to get on everybody's kind of radar to at least know that we are very interested in looking for something, so.
Well, based on what Ed was saying, if somebody from town, anybody, whoever gets on the capital committee, then they become an unpaid employee of the town. They can't serve on the committee.
Well, that's what
we're stuck with hiring an outside company.
Yeah, so I think there's some, I think there's
loophole
another
somewhere.
opportunity
Yeah.
there without,
Do we have a town, have a town attorney on
Yeah,
retainer?
we do.
yeah.
KP Law, yes, in Boston.
Yeah, so maybe get clarification on that.
So we're trying to, yeah, we're going to try to, that's one of our goals, yes, thanks, Jerry. Yeah, that's exactly what we need to do, is get clarification on, because we're going to go to the Friends, but I mean, they do small fundraising. This is a
Yeah,
different animal, and not all of them might be the people to go, that are comfortable asking for large sums of money, or visiting, Polish National Credit Union or something, but
Yeah.
So is somebody like Friends of the COA, are they not
they're a
considered employees,
501c3,
or
they're an outside
Set
organization.
up the capital thing as a 501 or whatever, instead of an official committee,
Well,
maybe?
I think we have to figure that out, because who's going to get on the we already have a 501c3 that we can, the challenge that we had was the monies is at the town of Southampton, so, because we did look at maybe hiring a couple of consultants to help work with us. The money that we have belongs to the town, and the Friends, if they were going to work with an outside agency, don't have access to that money to pay for the outside agency, and so it becomes, so we just need to kind of get through that process
It's a
and
little bit of a
understand.
catch-22, we just gotta figure out.
Yeah, it seems like there's other, Chicopee did it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other communities that use a similar model, so I'll do some research. to see if
Okay.
I can find that.
Great, perfect, thank you, that would be helpful. All right, so we'll keep that on the agenda as we move forward, and, I mean, grant opportunities, it's kind of too soon to really look
I would
into.
think so.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'll keep an eye out for things. I mean, there's various infrastructure money that's out there, but a lot of it is not specifically towards senior centers, so I'm not sure what the level of competition would be for that kind of a structure.
And maybe talking to Ann Goby or something
Yeah, I was gonna
about,
say, Ann Goby's the other person, she's the Western Mass Director for Maura Healy.
Of rural communities.
Rural community.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I was gonna reach out to her and just see, and it might be, good for her to come and just, brief us in general about what's going on grant-wise. I think
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that could be a bigger meeting, maybe even select board or something, but,
Because I'm sure public safety is,
yeah.
Gonna have the
they're
same
be
ask, right?
Similar
Sure.
situation, right. So I think that's, there are some that are probably more accessible than others, I mean, some of them are just not worth our time and effort because they're so competitive, and
Yep.
especially a lot of the larger federal grants are just really tough. I mean, we've just done one now for the fire truck tanker, but if we hadn't had a retired fire chief to work with me, there's no way I would have had a clue on how to answer that.
yeah.
So a lot of these can get very technical very quickly at the FEMA level, federal level, but state grants are usually a little bit more manageable. It's just a matter of knowing what's out there that would apply, because there's so many things that, oftentimes you've got to be the right size community to have any
Right,
leg
right.
up on things, and usually that's defined as less than 7,000, so that does fit us on a small community
Yep.
scale usually.
Aren't a lot of grants measured on diversity within the community
They are.
sometimes too? which
Environmental
is-
justice is the newest thing, and diversity is not our forte in Southampton. So that puts us in another wrinkle. Our median income is a little bit higher than poverty level, so that puts us in another we're a weird animal
Mm-hmm.
to make fit
Yes.
with a lot of the grant programs that I've seen. Honestly, we don't fit nicely. We've got just one little characteristic
Yeah.
that puts us a little bit on the outside, and so we have to really stretch it to
Yep.
show how we
To fit into the mold.
Yeah, so it's a tough one.
Okay.
Yeah, in Springfield, we fell into the mold.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Perfect, you met all the criteria.
Absolutely.
Okay, so just from a timing, I'm still unclear, and I don't know if, Ed, this is part of your timing thing, but, so after the town meeting, then, I mean, I'm in a little bit of a dilemma, so we need to hire an OPM, we need to hire an architectural firm,
Well,
and we
you're not
need to
gonna-
raise
you're not gonna-
money.
Yeah. I mean,
So that's,
Yeah, you're probably not gonna have enough left in, shall we say, the funds from the will at that point in time. So, probably the simplest answer to that is you will not be able to hire an OPM or an architectural firm until you have those
some kind of fund.
funds for that.
Okay, and just because I know you've been in public safety as well, what attempts are they making to get those monies to do that? I mean,
For this particular round, and I'm gonna have to go back and double check, for this particular round, I believe they've only got, I'll go back down and double check and come back up. I believe they only have the procurement for the commercial lot at 550, well, 550 plus closing costs plus legal costs, so I think it's somewhere around 580,000 in for a request, but let me go double check that.
okay,
Okay, I'll be
okay,
back.
thank you.
Sometime.
Right.
Don't get lost.
Yeah, we're about 5 minutes before closing, Ed, so. Welcome, Darcy.
Hello.
Darcy has joined us.
apologize.
Libby.
Okay, thank you.
She's wearing an earlier hat, an early volunteer board hat, right?
Yes,
So,
we've had some emergency issues.
we have a question, because somebody said Darcy might have more information. Is
Oh,
that,
the
was that
kitchen.
regarding the commercial kitchen? We
Yeah.
had a discussion just to kind
Yeah.
of go back in time.
I was just wondering.
Darcy, have you met Scott or?
No, I haven't. Hi, nice to meet you, Scott.
So I was just wondering, you know, the commercial kitchen, you have a commercial kitchen. Does it matter how often you use the commercial kitchen in terms of how you figure out this?
I don't believe so. I think the formula is based on the size of the building and the capacity of the building.
Okay.
And then the commercial kitchen will be sized to
To
that.
Regardless of
How often, whether it's once a week or 5 times a week, right?
Right, doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Okay.
Doesn't
It's a
matter.
little weird because, you know, you estimate how much stuff is going to the leach field.
Right.
It's such a varied amount, you know, the thing, whether it's a restaurant open every day versus, you know, we've been to some places and it seems like it's 1 or maximum 2 times a week they use the kitchen, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I expected that, but
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know if they could do maybe deed restrictions and stuff, but I don't think they get
Yeah.
into that for
Level.
new construction. You know, maybe for replacement that wouldn't be able to accommodate, I don't,
yeah.
but I think new construction, you would have to go by the formula.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, that would be, I don't know that, I couldn't guarantee that,
Yeah.
but that's my opinion on it.
Yep.
And I did mention that Barry has completed the perk results, but the Board of Health is closed, appears to be closed at the moment, so.
He must have slid it under the door because I was in the assessor's
okay.
office.
And he came by?
Well, he went down that way, then he came back and I just said, are you supposed to be, because I didn't know
Yeah.
if he was looking for you guys. And he
Oh.
said, no, I'm just dropping off the plans. So he said the plans are there.
Yeah, bummer.
So.
And we can't see them till next week then.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Too bad, we could have. They were thinking good. Do you think he keeps a copy? That maybe he could send Dennis and I a copy and copy you on that, and-
That'd be good.
or if he doesn't have our emails, if you could forward it to us.
Yes.
Yes. We're all eager.
I mean, our gut reaction is from the folks that were there, and you were there, right?
Yes.
So you saw it.
So, yeah, so you guys already talked about it. I mean, why Ed's gone, I guess we could waste some time talking more, but, so there's one swath that was good. The other areas were low-level perks. So there's one swath that would be able to accommodate it. the drawback was there was some wetlands, so we have to stay away from that.
Right.
But yeah, that one area did perk.
So we did find one area to perk, is that? And
Yeah.
it's not going to be a problem with any wetlands back there where that one area is located, to your knowledge, to your expertise? No.
I mean, I didn't measure it out, and you won't know until you know the size of the system. There was if we're looking at the lot here, there was a little, looked like a pond, could be a vernal pond, could be a pond here and here, and the swath was in the middle here.
Yeah, my question was,
This is probably not even on 89 Clark Street property.
I think it is.
doesn't matter if it's on
Yeah.
the
That was what
property
it- yeah.
or
Yeah,
not.
it probably
It's,
doesn't.
you still have to
The
stay,
distance.
Yeah.
we have to
Yeah.
stay outside of the 50-foot buffer zone.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
Concom
it looked like we
approval
could
to
do
go
that.
within the 100.
right,
I mean, it's not like a natural heritage site.
Right.
It wasn't a running brook.
No.
That would push us out further. It
Right.
looked like a pond,
Yeah.
vernal pond.
That might be an
With-
intermittent stream or.
I don't even think
Not
it was
even
that.
that.
It looked more, the groundwater's heavy there. high there.
Stationary, it's not moving
It
anywhere
didn't look it. To the far side
on the left.
could have a intermittent stream, but that was farther away.
So that's the
But
one we're
there,
not sure if
it
it's on.
didn't look like there was anything
I mean-
on either side. It looked.
Okay.
there are a couple of those on my own property that 90% of the time, they're not there. It's just been wet and there's some groundwater now that's frozen
We'll
and
have to go out
stuff.
and check and see if there's any peepers that are there in the,
The peepers, I will hear the peepers very soon.
Yeah.
check the property, see if there's any peepers in those ponds.
I think, we were talking when we were out there, it's kind of a bit of a trade-off, like Zero would have a better perk. This is gonna the ground, but that's the better location.
Yeah, that was kind of what the
Than
community
here.
told us, that they preferred it there. That
Preferred
wasn't,
it
yeah.
there, right, so that's, you have the little bit of trade-off.
Yeah.
But, where that was very heavily preferred.
And as Darcy and I were standing, it is a beautiful site.
It is.
I mean, it really is. I mean, I didn't have that sense by just driving down Clark
From
Street.
the front looking
When
back.
you're back there and looking like, wow, this is just a gorgeous spot, it really is. And something you said, you knew Mr. Parsons, and you think he would really have thought that was a good spot too. It's just, it adds a little bit of maybe emotional stuff or whatever, but it is a beautiful spot.
I mean, I think we all knew that, although we weren't sure what was happening at the place across, at the Labrie property at the time, because there were all sorts of proposals for developments and stuff, so we were kind of up in the air, and we were so focused on the perk test during the feasibility study. It wasn't until we had the community meeting, and everybody talked about that site, that it swayed us to say, we can get as long as we can perk it, we can work, make that work, because it was definitely a preferred community site. So it kind of woke us up and said, we can't just be hung up on, the best perk, but we needed a good perk, so that was,
Right.
okay. Ed,
Yes.
what was the question?
Who's buying lunch?
Was that the question?
Yeah.
Who bought the donuts? They're still sitting with me. No.
PSBC has 2 capital requests in for fiscal year '25. $590,000 for the acquisition plus closing costs and legal costs for the commercial lot at the front of the property, and $3 million for architectural fees. And keep in mind that right now, shall we say, the estimated construction cost for the public safety building is about double what the estimated construction cost was for the senior center.
How much was it?
About double, maybe
20,000,
20,
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
double more, maybe a little more than double,
maybe
but.
a little more than that.
Probably around 25.
Yeah, 24, 25 million.
I mean, but by the time we buy the property, so we're up a little bit, and by the time, so, So those are both for 2025?
Yes. Then construction, is the request for 2026.
Okay.
So they've requested it in what manner? What does that mean? At the town meeting?
So-
That would be correct.
So, but it's been presented to the capital committee, capital improvement committee
Okay.
on their 10-year plan or whatever.
Right.
So for 2025, those two, the 590,000 for acquisition, and then the 3 million for the hiring of the architect, right? Basically an OPM, and then construction for 2026. So how do we fit into that timing as well? Just out of curiosity, I mean, what would be, so we don't have to, our acquisition is, we already have, thank you to Mr. Parsons for the monies to purchase the property, and then you don't think, I mean, we could hire an OPM, but it doesn't make sense to hire an OPM if we don't have the money to hire the architect. Is that correct? Does that make sense?
You'd probably look at that, shall we say, two pieces at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, we got the impression from Hadley, the folks that were involved in that the OPM kind of came first and then the architect followed.
It does.
So, what's the timing, Libby, on that usually? Or does it vary?
You'd have to hire the OPM so that they can assist with the RFQ for architectural services.
Okay,
And then you hire once you go out for an RFQ or for RFP, you would then hire the architect. So the OPM definitely comes first. But I agree that they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah,
There's
they're
no
close.
reason that you would hire the OPM without knowing that you're also going to move forward with the architect.
okay. Okay.
Are we sure we don't have enough money? How much money do we have left?
Well, if we look at 800,000 roughly,
Yeah.
so I mean, we're close to having enough money. We're not that short.
You're right on the brink.
We're at enough,
Probably got
yeah.
$1.5 million.
We may take up a hat collection.
But
So we have 2.5 million still?
We are 2.4 and I forget change, so it's just under 2.5.
Okay.
So you should have $1.5 million left.
Yeah, I mean, we're
I
paying,
think enough for an architect and an OPM.
yeah, I mean, so we're paying for the, we'll have to hire the wetlands, or who hires the wetland scientists? Is that
They
us?
will. We are
They
not
will,
gonna hire them.
okay.
The architect would.
But for the
Under their fee.
appraisal and for the survey, which is a couple thousand both ways, and the title search, what is that? Does that run? Or is that legal cost and that comes from?
That's
the-
legal cost.
Does that come from the town?
Huh?
Will that come from the town?
No.
Would the
That's
survey
correct, yeah.
fall in
Well,
the architect
who's paying for the
fees
title
also?
search for the public safety committee?
Public Safety Committee out of the
ARPA?
ARPA fund.
Okay,
ARPA fund.
just checking. I want to make sure we're being fair here. Well,
Why-
Darcy, go ahead.
What would is there a present survey on the property?
That's the other thing you missed that I wanted to
Okay,
mention.
I'll catch
to you.
back on the
Yeah.
meeting.
No, I mean, I'm not sure if we have a copy of a current survey that Ryan had done before he bought, or was done before Ryan bought? Or if we were trying to remember about the feasibility study. We didn't do a survey, but, we just want to make sure we know where the pins are on the property. It's kind of, we're not 100% certain. And would Heritage go over and just kind of put poles where the pins are, since they probably did the survey? Yeah. Little green sticks in the pole or something, so we can really, because we don't have a good,
No, we don't.
perfect vision.
Right.
We can see it on paper, but when you get out there, it's kind of.
Well, Darcy saw the flags also
Yeah.
all over the place, so.
Would that be part of the architect doing? Would they redo the property lines, like a plot type thing? Do you know, Libby?
I don't see why they would if we already had one.
But I'm thinking so we don't have to double up. Like if they're gonna do it, why would we?
We could hire them to do it, sure, but I thought the idea was that we would want, that before we purchased it.
Yeah, we were
Oh,
talking
before
about, we
okay.
purchased to have a if it comes up at the town meeting, have you had the property surveyed? And if the easement, the 50-foot easement, is that required? We're also, just to kind of go
Right,
back
because
for a
that
minute.
wouldn't be on the plans, yep.
So, so where is that compared to the vernal pool or where, and do we own that property and it's just an easement for him to get back there? Because if he owns it, there's not enough frontage to build in the back, and those are kind of questions
Okay,
that
yep,
um,
yep. That makes sense.
mulling over.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have any answers, let us know.
I'll look back at the meeting, so I
Okay.
won't waste everybody's time.
All right, anything else before we call for a motion to adjourn?
Schedule.
We set in the
Oh,
next
yeah, and the
meeting.
schedule, yes, thank you. Call for a motion for the next meeting, that, exactly what I meant, so. So do you want to keep it with the 2 weeks? Is that March 7th? Does that work for everybody? And then
I'm a
hopefully.
maybe.
Pardon me?
I'm a maybe. I'm not sure with my travel plans.
Travel plans, you might
I
be,
probably can make it, but I'm not quite sure. But
Okay,
you
yep.
Carry on without me.
and, because we just want to tie up some of these loose ends and work on
Yeah.
outreach and education of the public before, and make sure we have the article done. So if KP Law is going to draft something for the article, Ed, do you think that would be within the 2-week period, or is that more like a month?
What 2-week period?
Between now and our next meeting?
I would probably say longer than that.
Okay.
Are we doing 12:30 again?
Yeah, does 12:30 still work for everybody? I mean,
Yes.
if you need it at a different time, we can move a half an hour or whatever, but you're good with 12:30? Okay, so 12:30. All right, so March 7th, 12:30. Okay, so now, let's move to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Chris said yes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Christina. Okay, roll call vote. Christina?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Darcy?
Aye.
Libby?
I
Jerry?
Aye.
And Janet, aye. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.